How's it going, everybody? Well, it's Carpo here. Damn, it's hot in Portland. Sit out in my garage, make a video real quick, right? The darkest place. It's the only quiet place. I have an awesome zone out in the yard to make videos, but family's running rampant, so that's impossible. This video, I guess, would be kind of one of my ponderances or considering of inspiration from a comment I guess I received earlier. Somebody asked me what I thought of libertarianism. Not being too familiar with the Libertarian Party themselves, I was just, I just delved into it a little bit. But the whole liberal, I guess just ignoring the liberal, the term liberal as being one that means that we are wanting to help the most amount of people, giving goods and services, and it can often lead into people basically calling it socialism, right? And the comment got me thinking about why a utopian society won't work, and it really made me consider our country and other countries around us. I guess the best way I could make an example would be, say, take Norway or Switzerland. As far as I know, they're predominantly, white countries with particularly similar interests, small enough to regulate and function and keep a legal system which is able to be contained, right, to an extent. Now, I'm just generalizing here. I don't really know their specific legal systems or how well they work or don't work in Switzerland or Norway. I'm thinking of a white country, let's say, that has certain values, regardless of how small or large your country is. There's always going to be differences in opinion. People are always going to have different views, and therefore more laws are going to have to be formed in order to protect people against certain injustices, I guess, or to protect their right to do certain things, or to protect others from having to put up with certain people's, say, rights. Let's say one group, it was your religious norm to like burn giant effigies in your front yard every day, and then you move to another country and it's obvious they're going to have to change the way that you live a little bit. This is an extreme example, I guess. What it means to be liberal versus conservative to me is basically a liberal wants to see as many people happy as possible in hopes that that will make the greater whole happier, whereas the conservative wants to keep the system in play and keep values the way that they've always been, and keep this attitude of, well, if you can't make it, you can't make it, and if you can, then right on. Kind of the capitalist view, often. And that's to our own demise, only because it's not an equal playing field out there. We know that, it's not even. Nobody said life was fair, but, if you're born into a certain name or heritage, you can have a lot more than the next guy. So in a country like America, where it's a melting pot of all these different cultures, I realize why we feel so impeded as Americans, why we feel like our rights are being stripped away, and in a lot of cases they are, but why it seems so much worse, and why America has so many more laws and so many more problems than other countries is because of that variety of people. A homogenized culture can keep their laws simple. A larger society needs more and more laws to protect the people in the ghetto, the people outside the ghetto, the people in the hills, the people in the valley, the Jews, the Christians, the Muslims. There's certain funds that have to be appropriated for all different types of cultural groups, and communities have different needs, and it's a very complicated ballgame. We all know that. I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know. It's crazy shit out there, to put it simple. When you look at the whole system, it seems like the whole thing's falling apart. It really seems like everything is in complete decay, and then it's only a matter of time till the system implodes. 20 years ago, I said it would be 10 years before our monetary system collapsed. That was back in, 98? That's really funny because in '08 is when the system actually did collapse. But they managed to hide it by bailing out the banks. Basically, it's like this. The game that we're playing as a nation and as a world isn't as organized and functional as people think. People think that everything's tied up into this perfect system, and the laws, the countries, that the borders are really borders, and that leaders are really leaders, and all of us are just people. And this whole construct, this whole invention that we create for ourselves is a result of us believing it exists. And I'm sure you've heard this a million times before, The only reason that we believe that society is the way it is because we believe it is the way it is. If everyone woke up tomorrow and had a different opinion on things, the borders could be changed, there could be no borders, and people have this, I guess, a pipe dream, that there could be a way to eliminate borders, to make a free world, and this utopian liberal society throughout the entire world, where commerce and free trade, just everything's open. And as far as I can see, it just won't work. It's the solution, it's not a solution at all. Because somebody's still going to be pumping oil, somebody's still going to be taking resources, mining gold. There still have to be regulations in order to keep things in check. And the fact that the system functions at all shows that humanity does care. When people say that the corporations don't care, it's true, a lot of them don't. That they're raping our resources, it's true, they are. That they're destroying our world, and our planet, and our air, and our soil, yeah, in a lot of cases they are. But do they intentionally do it to harm, or is it just for profit? It's steady groups of profit over various CEOs and generations of people, everybody trying to keep these companies afloat. But now we're actually realizing our error in our ways. If you look back to how polluted the rivers were 50 and 100 years ago here in Portland, like the Willamette River 100 years ago was disgusting. And they've actually cleaned it up quite a bit by making new regulations for farming, no more dumping our shit directly in there, and so I guess the point I'm making here is that society's not as bad as people think it is, that we've really done our best to try to be good. And once I saw this, I realized, God, it's like a smack in the head, like, why was I so negative for so long? Why did I think people don't care? Why did I feel like people don't like each other? And why do I feel like people are out to get each other and that everyone's shortchanged? And I realized because I'm feeling shortchanged. Because I'm not helping. Because I'm not part of the solution. And that's when I stepped up, and started trying to be a better person in my life. Whatever that means, and that's my personal deal. But, I learned along the way so much about what drives people, and I've had kind of mixed feelings about. I've gone from saying that it's like a black white neighborhood. Like in the old days, let's say they used to have churches in the Middle East that were right next to each other, all different types of churches, and of different denominations. And people think that there were times like 1,000, 2,000 years ago where if you even thought differently at all in any area, then you would be executed, and it was heresy to not believe in the same gods. There were times a few thousand years ago, especially during the times of the mystery schools and whatnot, and after that, where there were various teachings and philosophies and beliefs and religions all in the same street, and each person could live in harmony. But at a certain point, people start looking next door. It's just like looking at your neighbor and saying, whoa, what have they got? Is that right? Is that better? Do I want that? Or, does that threaten me? That they have a different belief than I do, or that they are, is their lawn better than mine? Kind of syndrome. And so you end up just making an enemy out of the other group in order to not have to associate with it. And we see this time and time again. This is how borders are created. Cultures form. They have beliefs. They don't want outside influence messing with it. They enjoy what they have, so they push put borders around it and close themselves in. And over time, we see this, and all of a sudden, in our generation, we say, bring all those borders down, come together. But that's not the reality. It just can't happen. Because people need that cultural difference. And you can see it and observe it even in our country, in this melting pot of America, that cultures tend to congregate, you know. Irish, Muslims, blacks, whites, Hispanics. We have, you know, our little Asia town, all these different spots where people congregate with people from the same cultural background. Because no matter how much culture you have, even if you're born in America as an Asian with Asian parents, you still want to carry on some of your Asian traditions, your cultural values. And in the very least, you have genetic commonalities with those in your same, you know, no longer do we think we're only different on the outside. That's what I'm saying. You know, you can't say, well, you know, color's only skin deep, because it's not. We have different diseases. We're more likely to get certain illnesses, better, you know, the sickle cell anemia that happens more to blacks, and the fact that I'm not lactose intolerant, but most Asians are, because I have that Anglo-Saxon, whatever, Norwegian blood. Just all the different things that make us, you know, things that we have in common that make us different. Things to cherish, not things to try to say, you know, abolish, you know. Like that stupid old attitude of, you live in America now, you're going to be American. You know, speak English, you know, and I understand that mentality of saying speaking English because it's difficult to talk to people if they don't, but anything beyond that, you know, trying to get in people's face about their cultures, the things they do, their holidays, making fun of that, you know. We have to embrace it, is what I'm saying, because that's what makes us different. And with that, we realize that there will have to be a lot of laws imposed to keep all those people happy. So the only solution I see is smaller nations, or nation states, which is what so many places have done in the past, that are all self-regulating by the people. And I've been really, over the last 20 years, thinking about all the problems in the world, and now I'm finally ready to actually start writing my own solution out. I want to work on this for the next couple of years, and hopefully there will be more to come. It's, you know, one man, but each one of us, if we have a proposed solution to the world, at least we can say we tried. Gotta go. Gotta pick up my son from school. So namaste, everybody, and have a great afternoon, evening, morning, whatever it is.